We are gradually becoming aware that diet and nutrition is very important for our health, but also for our planet and for the welfare of animals. And this awareness, I think, is very important. We realize that there is a global epidemic of non-communicable diet-related diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, cancer, obesity, and all of these things that are really a big public health problem globally. So it's important that we stop being mindless eaters of junk food and become aware of our food habits and make sensible choices. Well, some people actually take this to the extreme. So there are people that are completely abolishing total food groups and becoming very obsessed with their diets. I can give you some examples. Some of the young, highly educated women in our country are only drinking, say, vegetable products in the form of smoothies, etc. So green, sludge, bitter tasting foods that are in themselves healthy, but if you avoid all other foods, then it becomes a problem. So they embrace things like the vegan challenge, in which they totally abolish anything that is made from animal stuff and products. Then there are also people that are, say, macrobiotics, that try to eat only grains. There are people that stick to what we call superfoods. So they import very expensive types of exotic fruits and vegetables, such as goji berries and quinoa grains and chia seeds and things like that. So it almost seems like they're eating birdseed as their main meal. And birdseed is fine for birds, but it's not for humans. So we miss a lot of nutrients if we don't have a varied total diet as omnivores as we are used to be. You can eat vegan, but then you need to be very, very precise in what you eat, having a complete dietary portfolio of products that give you the total protein that you need, all the fatty acids that you need, and all the micronutrients that are usually found only in animal products and need to be substituted by very precise weighing and calculations of other foods. So yes, it's possible. There are also people that become victim of very clever marketing strategies. The marketing of superfoods, which is really a rip-off of very expensive types of berries and seeds and things like that, is one of these problems that people easily are misled by. But another one is completely creating new concepts. Usually they are taken from some sort of faraway population that has a longevity that is far exceeding the ones that we have, say on desert islands somewhere far away, or in mountainous areas in the Andes or in the Himalayas. And one of these concepts, for example, is bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee is a concept that is stolen from the idea that yak herders drink a typical type of tea, which is called yak tea, which is tea with lots of sugar and then also lots of the yak butter, which is called ghee in that area of the planet. And so this person introduces now bulletproof coffee, which is a very expensive coffee with butter, very special butter also, and so you pay an enormous amount of money for a drink which would then give you the life expectancy and the sort of quality of life that yak herders would have in the Himalayas. This, of course, is very misleading. So a lot of what is happening in, say, the extreme types of foods and dietary habits, which are really an obsession for a lot of people, are cleverly marketed ideas of people that sell nonsense, basically. I was coming across a person that tried to invent a new kind of energy drink, which then had Himalayan salts with typical kinds of sugar, with typical kinds of all kinds of very, very, say, extravagant and extraordinary ingredients, but it became just a sugary drink, like anything else with caffeine. But it sold for 5 or 6 euros per can. So it is very clever marketing, and a lot of people fall for this. And for some reason, people usually find it very attractive to follow the dietary advice of very young, happy-looking, very successful young women. They usually write books and they write blogs and they vlog about this. And the idea is that if you behave and follow the advice of these young, extravagantly beautiful young women, you become like them. And so their books are always in the top 10 of non-fiction bestsellers. I've just looked in the bestseller list of this week. There are 3 or 4 of these books in the top 5, which is extreme. And so there are dozens and dozens of these books coming out every year of young, successful people selling the idea that if you eat the kind of breakfast that they do, if you eat the kind of lunch and have the on-the-go kind of snacks, that you become thin, beautiful, and successful like they do. And so this is sold by many, these books are bought by many, many young women, which then become quite obsessed with their bodies. One of these books that I was just reading is called Killer Body, in which the woman who wrote it actually lost a lot of weight, became very obsessed with exercise and diet, embracing her hunger as she describes, and gives the idea that all people should embrace this idea of getting a killer body, which means actually that you are using all your time and energy and purpose in life to shape your body in a certain way, which of course is a waste of time, because you can never be as successful and young and beautiful as the woman who wrote it. But also it is mistakenly giving the idea that you should be obsessed with your diet and your exercise most of the time, and that you should try to achieve a very slender body for most of your life. That's unattainable for most people, and it becomes an obsession for people that cannot achieve those goals, and it becomes a disappointment and also a frustration, and that may lead to all kinds of other problems. So in my view, diet should be a social occasion. Nutrition should be, and food should be enjoyed by people, cooking them, maybe growing them, eating them together, and making it a social occasion. It forms part of our identity. So if you're from a certain part of the world, you have your local foods and things like that, which you can enjoy and feel comfortable with. And I think we should not forget that food is essentially a thing which is holding cultures and people together. And also the exchange of these cultures enriches us in many different ways. So if we abandon this idea and not eat the junk food most of the time, but go to the other extreme and just individually tailor your extreme food habits to yourself, then we lose the idea of food being the spice of life, if you like. And so eating a varied diet, eating together, enjoying your food as much as possible, avoid the junk foods, of course, I think is the best recipe for a healthy and prosperous nutritional life.